Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Just real quick, please subscribe, comment, click the like button. I'm trying to get to pretty much see if I get to 50 subscribers. All right, now let's get down to it. James Harden. We're just going to have to sit and talk about James Harden and through Kobe Bryant's lens, when Kobe Bryant sat there and said that James Harden's game is not built for the playoffs. And I know a lot of James Harden fans and acolytes are going to sit there and say, you crazy, James Harden, stirring them up, crossover, dribble, drive through the lane, shoot the three, step back. Yes, that is James Harden. We also have to acknowledge the fact that when it comes to the playoffs, James Harden doesn't get the job done when it comes to that. So I'm just going to play this quote by Kobe Bryant, Rachel Nichols, and Tracy McGrady, who said,
I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships. But at the same time, you have to keep your team's head above water to win games. So you have to do what you have to do to win games, and he's doing that, right? Now, I think with this style of play, it won't win, right? With one player dominating the ball. Now, when you have Chris Paul come back and you have more movement into the offense, where you move guys around, where you're harder to find.
Now, to say when it comes to this quote from Kobe Bryant pretty much called it. James Harden, when in Houston, he had to do what he had to do to get the players into the playoffs. With that said, though, when it came down to it, he wasn't able to do anything because those calls that he was getting in the regular season, you're not going to get those whistles as much in the playoffs. And so you have those nights when he's doing really good, and then you have those nights when he's doing really bad. So when he comes to the Sixers, I have to be honest, I liked what I was seeing in terms of James Harden in the regular season. I like the fact that he stabilized everybody, and he was really putting Joel in good spots. And also Tyrese Maxey was able to get more room between the gravity of him and Joel Embiid creates, because they require so much attention. The downside of that was pretty much when you look at this past season, the playoffs, well, when you go to the regular season first, when you look at the regular season, the Sixers did a lot of pick and roll between Joel Embiid and James Harden. And the problem was, as time moved on, especially when you got into the playoffs, the pick and roll became less and less and less. And the simple reason for that is because James Harden always had the ball in his hands, and the Sixers became one of the slowest teams. So you have players sitting around just standing and not moving, and there's no ball movement, and they're just looking at James Harden try to cook. The problem is, this is not James Harden in 2015 in Houston. He can't cook. He can simmer. I mean, it's only so much cooking he's going to be able to sit there and do. And let's be honest here, James Harden is not an efficient shooter. His career, he's shooting probably like 43 or 44%. There's only 1 year he was over 49%. So we have to sit and look at this for what it is. James Harden is not a superstar anymore. He's a superstar in name, but he's not a superstar in talent. He's downgraded. And so we have to come to grips with that. And unfortunately, he's not coming to grips with that because he feels as though is that he has to be able to express himself. And now he put out a quote, he want to make people uncomfortable. No, you know what's uncomfortable? I'm already uncomfortable. You know what was uncomfortable for me? What was uncomfortable for me was Jaylen Brown sitting there locking you up. That was uncomfortable for me. Yes, you scored the 40 points in Game 3 and Game 5, I think. Don't get me lying, I forget. Those games helped the Sixers propel the Sixers into winning those games. That's true. I agree with that. I appreciate that. That's not something he can do on a consistent basis. He couldn't do that on a consistent basis when he was at Houston, because he's had some stinkers. He had games when he's on top of the world, and he has games where I'm sitting there like, okay, this is not good. So when you look at the playoffs, it goes into what Kobe Bryant said. There is no ball movement. None whatsoever. There's no player movement. There's not player movement with him. So the defense can set and it can look right at you. The problem is, though, James won't give up the ball. And now I'm not even sure if he's even capable of doing that because of injuries and how slow he's gotten. One thing I did appreciate that he started to do, he started to put in the mid-range. He started to post up smaller guards. And that's what helped him in the Boston series. Until they put Jaylen Brown on him and he just got locked up. All I needed Akon to sit there and start singing, "I'm locked up, won't let me out." Those were the games when he was just stinking up the joint. And then Game 6 and Game 7, I mean, he pretty much quit. He quit. Joe quit. So if they quit, the team is going to follow suit. And so when I see the quote, "It's time to get uncomfortable," I'm already uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable that I may have to go another year with James Harden. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that the Sixers may go into the playoffs and may even go out the first round. The Sixers really haven't done anything to improve their team. They may get to the second round just off the strength of Joel Embiid and whatever development Tyrese Maxey has done. But still, with that, it's still not enough. And I just don't believe that James Harden is the key. This may be a gap year. And the Sixer fans may have to swallow another second round exit or even first round exit. It may happen. And then you may have to sit and look at what decisions Joe may want to sit there and take. Because what I can say right now, James Harden's game is not aging well. It's not aging well at all. Him running an offense ages well to a point. But his offensive game, if he's continued doing the same thing and he wants to do step back, dribble, shoot, that's not aging well. Because now he's lost his speed. And now since he's lost his speed, you're going to have people sitting there that normally wouldn't lock James Harden up, can lock James Harden up. So the only way that he'll be able to really cause some damage is through the pick and roll. And if he's not going to give up the ball to run through down screens and picks and base, he's not going to do that. And since he's not going to do that, he's easy to defend. So the points that he scored in the regular season is hollow. And then you get to the playoffs, and when teams really start to dig in on defense, refs start to let the teams play a little bit, and you're not catching teams on different schedules or road trips and stuff like that, and they're coming in tired. No, you're just playing one team for 4 games, and you have to win 4 games. And now you have those coaches sitting there working and looking to take what you do best and make you uncomfortable. And what we've seen when James Harden's best is taken away from him, we've seen time and time again, whether it's Houston, whether it's Brooklyn, and whether it's the Sixers, it gets taken away, he folds. I'll go with the quote what Draymond Green said when Draymond Green was talking to J.J. Redick, and he asked J.J. Redick, he said, "JJ, why? Like, what was your impression of us?" He sat there, Draymond sat there and said, "Look, we knew y'all were front runners. We knew we punch y'all in the mouth, y'all gonna fold." And what I've seen from James Harden, and unfortunately I've seen it from Joel, but that's another video. When they get punched in the mouth, they fold. They got punched in the mouth in Game 6, and you physically saw them fold. He got punched in the mouth in Game 7. You saw him fold. So as a Sixers fan, I'm not thrilled to seeing him for another year, but I know it's a possibility because